Hello, it's 9 o'clock. And so not buenas tardes, people, but buenas noches, people. And welcome to the 16th and last class in the first Spanish Every Other Day course, the alphabet. And we've come to the end of the first course. I'd like to thank all of the beta testers that signed up. If you weren't watching it on Facebook, you were able to watch it on YouTube. I will probably keep that YouTube channel open as a free trial for a little bit longer because some of you didn't start in August. At least one person has expressed interest in taking it in September. So if you'd like to take the entire course in September, it's still free. And the first video tells you how to do the course in 30 days. So let me know. There will be an email address at the end of the presentation. So you can write me and let me know what you'd like to do. All right? So if you have taken the course for the entire month, how's your mouth doing? How's your jaw? How is your tongue that needs to flap? That needs to curl up, that needs to go like this and this and this and this for different letters. How's it doing? Well, we are going to work them out, all three of those, the entire, this part of your face, the entire lower half of your face, we're going to work them out. We're going to work it out one last time. We are not going to do all 15 exercises. We're only going to do 5 of them. Plus, wait for it, yes, there's a little surprise at the end, so please stay for the entire presentation. And here we go. First up is the alphabet. Do you remember how we did the alphabet? We used pencils and we used the metronome, correct? So, put your metronome app on 70. All right, we're going to count to 8 and then we will start. And I'll even give you a slide with the entire alphabet. Of course, you haven't forgotten it, have you? Here it is, just in case you're nervous. All right, we want a little arm room. The best thing to do would be to stand up and do it, but I'm a little bit limited as to space here, so I'm gonna sit down. If you wanna stand up, that's fine. Just have something in front of you so that you can do that, all right? So, up to 8, and then we start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A, B, C, Ch, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. All right? How'd that go? Did you miss any? It's all right. It's all right to miss any. Oh, my computer doesn't want to work with slides. There we go. We have exercise number 2. Now, if you've been a Spanish student of mine, you know that this is a pet peeve of mine. Open your mouth and say, ah. We don't want when we say the letter ah. Do you remember the exercise? Start with one word and end up with many words. And all of these words end in the letter ah, because a lot of times we have problems maintaining the sound of the letter ah throughout an entire sentence with multiple words that end in ah. It ends up and we're going to try to slide it to Spanish and make it ah. So here we go. I'm going to say each phrase twice, all right? blanca. Not blanca, but blanca. Blanca. Number 2, casa blanca. Casa blanca. Number 3, la casa blanca. La casa blanca. Number 4, a la casa blanca. A la casa blanca. Number 5, pásala a la casa blanca. Pásala a la casa blanca. And number 6, Amanda, pásala a la casa blanca. Amanda, pásala a la casa blanca. Were you able to maintain all the way through? Make a recording at the beginning of the week, practice the next week, then make another recording and see if you're starting to hear a difference. Now, remember how you practice. 5 minutes a session, 6 to 8 times a day. And obey your timer. Make sure you don't go past 5 minutes. All right? Next, exercise number 3, all of the vowels. So let's do a little bit of a warm-up. I call this 5 by 5. We say the 5 vowels 5 times. We say it slowly, and we say them short. We cut them off. In other words, not a, e, o, u, as if they were English vowels, but rather a, e, I, o, u. So 5 times. A, e, I, o, u. 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 How was that? It's all right to exaggerate the motions that you have to make with your mouth. That's a good thing because that loosens up all of the muscles around your mouth. And it starts getting them loosened up, so that they can appropriately say the letters in Spanish. Not in English, but in Spanish. Remember, we're trying to make it easier for our Spanish-speaking listeners to listen to us. So here's a tongue twister, all of the vowels. And my computer says, I don't want to show you the tongue twister. There we go. All right, here we go. Pepe pica pocas papas con un pico. Pepe pica pocas papas con un pico. Con un pico, Pepe pica pocas papas. Con un pico, Pepe pica pocas papas. ¿Cuántas papas pica Pepe con un pico? ¿Cuántas papas pica Pepe con un pico? I'm going to say the entire thing, and I'm not going to go twice on each sentence, all right? Pepe pica, got distracted, sorry. Pepe pica pocas papas con un pico. Con un pico, Pepe pica pocas papas. ¿Cuántas papas pica Pepe con un pico? It would be good for you to ask your, yes, friendly, neighborhood, helpfully critical, native Spanish speaker to help you to hear how they would say it so that you can imitate it. Record them, get their permission, of course. Record them, have them record themselves, and ask them to pass the recording to you so that you can hear it. Then try it. Then ask their opinion. What do you hear? Where's the difference? What is the difference between how you're saying it and how I am saying it? Listen to their criticism, especially if you don't agree with it. And then practice it and re-record it and see if slowly but surely you're getting closer to the way they pronounce. So exercise number 4. Now this was interesting. How do we get a te sound in Spanish instead of a te sound? It's the difference between territory and stand. There's a difference between those two T's in English. It's that second T that we need in order to accurately pronounce the letter te in Spanish. So, do you remember how we did that? We said instead of saying just the word stand, we split it. We paused before we got to the second letter. We said stand. Now notice we don't say tand when we say the word stand. We go first and hold the tongue until it makes kind of an English D sound. Stand. So that's how we want to say our letters, our Spanish letter te. Stand, stand, te. Te, not te, but te. We're trying to get rid of that sound before in the letter te in Spanish. So here's our tongue twister. Now be careful. I'm going to say it all the way through with no repeats. All right? Tito toma té. Tita toma mate. Y yo me tomo toda mi taza de chocolate. Say it again. Tito toma té. Tita toma mate. Y yo me tomo toda mi taza de chocolate. So what happened? Did you say Tito toma té? Or did you say Tito toma té? Now, sometimes, excuse me, I'm going to make sure that I turn my phone off so it doesn't interfere. Sometimes we can't hear our t sound when we say the letter te in Spanish. So we end up saying Tito toma té, and we don't have a problem with it. But let's make it easier for our Spanish-speaking listeners. And if you want to make it easier for them to listen to you, here's a trick to be able to say that te with a non-English accent. Do you remember how we did the word stand? For every word that begins with te in this tongue twister, let's put the letter S in front. In other words, instead of saying Tito toma té, let's say Stito stoma te, stay. You notice we've eliminated the tss sound. Let me show the contrast again. Tito toma té, which would be the English way of saying that Spanish phrase. But if we put Stito stoma te, then we've eliminated that sound that we get when we say the letter te. Not the S sound, but the sound that we get with te. We don't want to say te when we're saying the Spanish letter te. We need to say te. And we get that if we put the letter S in front of all of those words that begin with te. So, stito, stoma, ste. Stita, stoma, mate. Now, you might have a little problem there because we're not going to put an S there. Y yo me tomo toda mi taza de chocolate. I've eliminated the ts sound. The trick over a period of time would be to elongate the space between the S and the T. In other words, stito, stoma, ste. And then you leave off the S. Tito, toma, te. So try that. If you're having a problem with tito, toma, te. If you're not sure about the difference, again, ask your friend. Would you please record this tongue twister for me? And then you record it. And if you can't hear a difference, ask your friend. He will hear a difference. If you're not saying tito, toma, te. If you hear a difference, or if your friend hears a difference, try this tongue twister with the S in front. And try it for a week, 5 minutes a session, 6 to 8 sessions a day, then re-record it. Him and you, or her and you, and see what comes up. All right? All right, so exercise number 5. Those terrible, horrible, no good, very bad letters, ere and erre, which we didn't like very much, did we? But they're not, I can't call them no good, can we? But they do treat us terribly and horribly until we get the hang of them. Do you remember the exercises that we did? We're going to do these 2 tongue twisters. Now, we need a little bit more work with the ere than the erre for these 2 because, as I mentioned in, I believe it was the erre class, when the letter ere comes at the beginning of a word, unfortunately for us, we must say it with a doble R sound. So all the way through. Do you remember the 2 ways that we practiced? First, I asked you, can you purr like a cat? And the third way was I asked you if you could, if you can, then you go, keep the air flowing and tell your tongue it must flap. And it comes out. If you tell your tongue to flap. Now, your tongue is going to say, what do you mean? I'm not going to flap. Why should I flap? Because you're asking it to. Concentrate on telling your tongue to flap. If you need to start it flapping, go ahead. Now, it's going to sound horrible. There's liquids might be coming out of your mouth in not so great ways, but you need to train your tongue to flap. It doesn't want to, but you can convince it if you give it enough time and enough practice. So review those lessons, ere and erre, for the practice. And now we'll do the tongue twister. So we've got Rocco, Roquito, quería comer roca, pero la roca está rota. Entonces, Rocco, Roquito no comió roca, comió rocola. I better slow it down, huh? Okay. Rocco, Roquito quería comer roca, pero la roca está rota. Entonces, Rocco, Roquito no comió roca, comió rocola. That was more R than R, right? Well, that's all right. If you can do an R, it'll be easy to do ere. If you can do ere, you're flapping once. Get your tongue to flap more than once. It takes time. This letter takes weeks and months to do. In some people's case, it takes years. But that's all right. It's all right, as long as you're improving, as long as you're practicing. I had a student who practiced diligently. She started to notice the difference after 6 months, but she practiced a little every single day. 5-minute sessions will do it, folks. 5-minute sessions, but every day. 5 minutes a day. Put the timer on. When the timer goes off, you stop. Do not go over 5 minutes. You don't have to. Make sure you stick to the 5-minute rule. All right? All right, so let's do the R. Okay? Rosana, rosarrón, Roma, marrón. Rosanita, Rosanita, barrón. Once again, Rosana, rosarrón, Roma, marrón. Rosanita, Rosanita, barrón. Now, I must pay homage to the place I lived 16 years, and that's the Ecuadorian Andes. They have an interesting way of pronouncing the doble R. They don't flap their tongue, folks. So that last tongue twister would be Rosana, rosarrón, Roma, marrón. Rosanita, Rosanita, barrón. Now, if someone has heard that accent somewhere else, please let me know. I would love to know that that accent is not unique to the Ecuadorian Andes. And I'm not saying that that's acceptable, and I'm not saying it's not acceptable. If you say doble R that way, people will say, "Are you from Ecuador?" Or if they've never heard the accent before, you might be in for a little bit of a laugh. The R sound is accepted all over Latin America, Spain, Equatorial Guinea, and all of the Spanish communities around the world. The R sound is acceptable in the Ecuadorian Andes, especially if you live in the country, as opposed to living in Quito or Cuenca or Ibarra or Ambato. However, so many native Ibarreños say Ibarra, not Ibarra. Depends on who you're around. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. That's the best way to gain the confidence of your listeners. So those are the 5 exercises out of the 15. Now you know that there were more. Just go back over them. All right? Now, so what's the little surprise? Well, let me show it to you. The first of its kind. Here we go. And I'd like to give it to one of you. So write me about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the course at SEOD@ESENtranslation.com. And whoever writes me, I will take your names, put them on a little slip of paper, put it in a bowl, pick out the name, and I will send you this mug. Free, courtesy of having been in the course and helped me with your feedback, because that's what I need now. I need your feedback. I need to know what I did right, what I did wrong, what I did middling. All right? Please do that for me. Questions? Yep, a ton. Again, this is my email address, SEOD@ESENtranslation.com. And I'll certainly do my best to help you with any kind of question that you might have about Spanish pronunciation. As you have seen through the course, I'm not so much of a technical grammar person as let's do it so that we're understood by the people around us. So just send me your questions and I'll do my best to help. Before I say adios, muchas gracias por todo, let's remember why. we put our blood, sweat, and tears into this challenging language. I want to give you three numbers: 21, 383, and 437. 21, that's how many countries around the world, or I should say major regions in the world, speak Spanish. Not even speak Spanish, have Spanish as their official language, and that includes Puerto Rico. 383 plus 5 zeros is 38,300,000. That's how many people in the United States speak Spanish. So what is that? Between 1 in 8 and 1 in 12 people speak Spanish. So you have people to practice with. And 437 plus 6 zeros, 437 million people around the world speak Spanish. That's a lot of people. You will find Spanish communities all over the world. If you get a taste for Peruvian food in India, you'll be able to find a restaurant. You have a taste for Colombian food, you'll be able to find one in China. But you will gain more friends if you can ask for it in Spanish. If you can talk to the chef, the waiter, the receptionist, the hotel persons, the tour people, the people you're trying to help if you're a volunteer, the people in your office if you're a business person, the people in your international exchange group. That's a lot of people to talk to. And if you speak Spanish, you can sure go further than just speaking one language. They are the reasons that we strive to master this language. So 5 minutes a session. 5 minutes a session. 6 to 8 times a day. At least for the first 4 months. If it has become a daily habit by then bump up the sessions to 10 minutes, but only do 3 of those a day. And then all of a sudden, you're really studying a half hour a day, at least. And a half hour a day builds up. The most important thing is something daily. Do something daily in Spanish so that you can keep progressing. So remember, once again, write me at seod@esentranslation.com, and you may find this lovely cup in your mailbox in a couple of weeks. All right, so muchas gracias por todo, and keep improving your Spanish skills. Hasta la próxima.